Welcome to the PokéVet Surgery, where I, Gym Leader Mia, look after your Pokemon that resemble our real-life pets. It's a spin on the usual top 5 or 10 of a specific type, grouping domestic species together instead. Today, I enlist the help of fellow PokeTuber and friend of the channel, Ozzymitsu, to help me count down some of the best bird Pokemon designs.
Hello everyone, Ozzymitsu here, and firstly I want to thank Mia for having me on her channel. It really is a pleasure. I've loved this series from the get-go, and I'm so excited to count down who Mia and I think are the top 10 birds in Pokemon.
Number 10. Rufflet.
To begin with, I love its name, which appears to be a combination of the words ruff and ruffle, with ruff with 2 F's meaning an eaglet, which is exactly what its design appears to be based on.
This Pokemon reminds me of the baby birds I look after through wildlife care, and although a lot of people think they are ugly, I think they are super adorable. It's so rewarding to care for a juvenile or a fledgling until the day they fly off into the world, and Rufflet represents that to me.
I first saw Rufflet in its debut in the black and white anime, where it was in a daycare belonging to Layla. This Pokemon doesn't seem to get along with its supposed playmate Vullaby. I thought their rivalry was a nice nod to the Pokemon games, in which each Pokemon are version exclusives. I really like its Pokemon White Pokédex entry, which states they will challenge anything, even strong opponents, without fear. Their frequent flights help them become stronger. Truly inspirational.
Number 9. Delibird. Although a lot of you may be familiar with Delibird as a Pokemon Christmas mascot, I encountered Delibird as a little troublemaker working for Team Rocket. I mean the real Team Rocket, not Jesse and James's failed life of crime. Basically, Delibird and an old woman travelled around Johto to recruit members of Team Rocket. In her travels, she comes across Jesse, James and Meowth. After encouraging them to sign up, they try and convince her they are already part of Team Rocket, but they just have no money to renew their membership. Delibird is given to the trio to capture Pikachu, and unfortunately, one of Delibird's presents heals Pikachu, instead of working like the previous few presents that nearly caused Team Rocket to win. What was nice though is that we see Delibird debt collecting in a few episodes after that, so it served as an effective continuing theme. Every time the trio makes a bit of money from like their hot dog stands or selling little trinkets, they have to give it to Delibird. It was an interesting way of using this Pokemon, and great that Shady Penguin played into Delibird's anime character as his Shady People mascot.
Number 8. Mandibuzz. I didn't really think too much of Mandibuzz when I first saw it, nor was I interested in catching one in my journey in the Unova region. However, I recently built a competitive team in Sun and Moon, and I needed a nice bulky physical wall, and Mandibuzz fits that need perfectly with its base 105 physical defense stat, coupled with its overcoat ability, meaning it cannot take damage from the weather. This was fantastic, especially considering the current meta has a lot of Pokemon who summon some form of weather condition that causes chip damage, like Alola Ninetales' Snow Warning ability, and the recently popular Gigalith with Sandstream. I grew more fond of this Pokemon due to the amount of success I've had with it, using Snarl to render special attackers useless, whilst being able to tank a physical hit very well. It's just overall a pretty solid Pokemon.
Number 7. Hawlucha. Hawlucha is one of my favourite designs from Generation 6. Both its normal and shiny colour scheme looks great. I grew up watching Jackie Chan Adventures, and one of the cultural things it introduced me to was Mexican wrestling in a tight face mask via the character El Toro, who held the Ox Talisman. That's why I think making Hawlucha fighting flying type was a great idea, although it does give him a few type disadvantages. The anime depicts Hawlucha as proud, and I like its fighting spirit, earning the number 7 spot. Number 6. Pkmn.
Pkmn served as a very useful ally on my first journey in the Alola region. Its moves through level up were very helpful, like Rock Blast and Bullet Seed, coupled with its skill link ability, which means multi-hitting moves were guaranteed to hit 5 times, which was very helpful.
The variety of moves was unexpected and felt fresh rather than just being a Staraptor copy, or any of the other regional birds for that matter.
Its design is also pretty appealing,
especially the colour scheme of its shiny. Wow.
I also like how much thought went behind Pkmn's origins.
Pkmn appears to be based on a toucan. In particular, it resembles the Toko toucan.
Its ability to heat up its bill and fire seeds is similar to the concept of cannon and cannonballs, which require a tremendous amount of heat in order to launch projectiles at blazing speeds, which makes its signature move Beak Blast extra spicy.
Number 5. Spritzy.
I absolutely adore Spritzy. It's one of my favourite Pokemon of all time. I found myself becoming very fond of Spritzy when I first watched a battle under the ownership of Valerie, the Fairy-type gym leader, against Ash. The way Valerie Spritzy battled the way it did actually inspired me to breed one of my own. I eventually evolved mine into an Aromatisse, but I quickly became attached to it, despite all of the hate this evolutionary line gets.
I think Spritzy is a bird pocket monster done right. It acknowledges a flamingo without becoming a cartoon flamingo. I don't like when Pokemon resemble their animal counterpart too closely.
A lot of people think its design is disappointing, but I don't. I really like it. It's cute, it's pink, and it's quite the battler in my opinion. A very underrated Pokemon.
Number 4. Oricorio. When Ozzy and I were discussing which Pokemon based off birds should make the list, Oricorio was one of them we instantly agreed on.
I absolutely adore Oricorio pom-pom style, being based on the art of cheerleading, which honestly I don't care, is freaking adorable. Yellow being my favourite colour made me love pom-pom even more. I've also had a lot of success using Oricorio in battle with moves like Revelation Dance being based on its primary typing, and it makes for a great teammate for another Pokemon who can use Quiver Dance, and Oricorio's Dancer ability will copy this stat change. It's basically like a free Psych-Up, which is amazing. A lot of fun shenanigans you can do with this Pokemon.
My favourite of the 4 is Sensu style. Lucky for you, Ozzy, that your favourite is on the first island, because I ended up getting my Sensu style Oricorio on the GTS, since otherwise I'd have to wait until Pony Island, and I didn't want to wait that long. I'm a sucker for anything that even remotely references Japan, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I also like the ghost typing, as I've only recently discovered how much I enjoy battling with ghost types.
Mia and I also did a video on my channel where we discussed the different forms of Oricorio in a bit more detail as part of my Evolution Solution series, so be sure to check that out if you want to know a bit more on how they fare in battle.
Number 3. Articuno. The legendary bird revered by Team Mystic members like myself.
Articuno has always been my favourite of the 3 legendary birds. It just looks so majestic, and as a kid I was completely awestruck by Articuno's design. I might be wearing my nostalgia goggles on this one, but whenever I think of a legendary Pokemon, Articuno comes to mind. It's the perfect example of a legendary Pokemon done right.
Shortly after this Ice Flying type impressed me in Pokemon 2000, I saw a couple of episodes that Articuno appeared in. It follows Todd Snap looking for Articuno to photograph it with Ash and friends, and on the way to the Snowy Mountains, where Articuno is rumoured to be seen, they find a frozen Jigglypuff. Confused at how Jigglypuff got frozen, they defrost her and head to the Pokemon Center, where they learn that a couple of travellers were lost in the Snowy Mountains, later saved by Articuno. Go and watch those episodes, I don't want to spoil too much, they're definitely worthwhile. Now some honourable mentions before we reveal each of our number 1s. Rowlet, because I find his character in the anime adorable, but I haven't used one on my team yet, so I didn't really have enough to say about Rowlet to put him on this list. Psyduck, because Psyduck was the centre of a lot of jokes in the original anime, and sometimes you feel sorry for Psyduck, and other times you just think, oh my goodness, Psyduck, just get back in your ball.
Number 2. Murkrow. Honestly, how can anyone dislike Murkrow? I love everything about it, especially the way it is designed. Some people say Murkrow has a boring design, but I don't think so. I find it so clever that its beak resembles a witch's nose, and its head like a witch's hat. It gets 5 stars from me. I loved Murkrow's first appearance in the anime under the ownership of a witch called Lily. You know, that episode where Lily turned Ash into a Pikachu? Honestly, when I first saw that episode, the one Pokemon that stuck out to me was obviously Murkrow. I find it so adorable, and I absolutely adore its in-game cry. A lot of my friends I've made in this community get sick of me trying to imitate it, but it's just so much fun to do, no matter how bad I am at doing it. Murkrow! But all jokes aside, Murkrow fits the dark typing really well, coupled with its prankster ability, making it such a pesky threat in battle.
Number 1. Pelipper. It's one of those Pokemon that remind me of home due to the many hours my mom and I enjoyed using Pelipper in Generation 3 in South Africa. Now we live in Australia, and the river that runs in front of our house has frequent visitors of the pelican variety, of course. I have fond memories of using Pelipper in my first ever Pokemon game, Sapphire, and then later in Emerald. It was my mom's favourite Pokemon to use when training up some of my other Pokemon to complete the Pokédex. After Pelipper, Walrein and Ninetales reached level 100, we continuously battled the Elite Four to get money for items, or just to raise more strong Pokemon. Mom would often pulverize the Elite Four using only Pelipper, because we had a Shockwave Pelipper in Gen 3 and that was pretty OP. And after that, Pelipper couldn't get access to Shockwave very easily, which made it very difficult to use in battles after Gen 3 in real life, and even against non-playable characters.
It's made a comeback though. Even with its 4 times weakness to electric type moves, it is dominating in the current meta, and I think that's great. Pelipper has risen in popularity where, at the time of recording this video, it is now in the OU tier thanks to its Drizzle ability, making it a fantastic support Pokemon for the likes of Tapu Koko to use Thunder without worrying about it missing, or using a perfectly accurate Hurricane. Plus, powering up water type moves, meaning a Surf, is going to deal a ton of damage. Thanks so much for having me on your channel today. I really enjoyed talking about our favourite Pokemon based on birds.
It's always a pleasure working with you, Ozzy. Thank you for your time and input on this. We also did a video on Ozzy's channel as part of his Evolution Solution series, where we discuss, compare and analyse the different forms of Oricorio.
So if that is something that interests you, come on by.
Be sure to comment your favourite bird Pokemon. If you like this video, be sure to share it with a friend or in a relevant online community. But thank you so much for watching, and let the battle for the Crystal Badge begin.